Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and today on TD3LC we are looking at Russell Wilson's film analysis from 2019 and trying to explain to you why he was so good, why he led this Seahawks offense to so many points and led them to the divisional round in 2019. So stick with it throughout. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to like and subscribe for more. There's going to be a lot more film analysis coming over the next few weeks. I hope you enjoy. I think we all know what Russell Wilson's strengths are. He throws really well on the run, and his throwing mechanism is one of the best in the NFL. He's a short guy, but as is proven with Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson, arm power doesn't come from being tall and having a massive frame. It comes from how smooth the mechanism of his throw is, and Russell Wilson's definitely got one of the best in the league. And this means when he's outside the pocket, or he's not got his full balance when he's in the pocket, it means he can still get away really good throws. And this is one of the examples. So this is against the Eagles in the wild card round. The Eagles played a lot of cover one against the Seahawks with one single high safety here, and the rest is man coverage. And the Seahawks put out some really great routes on this play. So you'll see the outside receiver at the top of the screen, he's going to run an in route, and the slot receiver at the top half of the screen, he's going to run the pick route. So what that means is that the defender on the slot receiver, he has to get past two bodies, the guys who start on the outside of the field, he has to get past both of these bodies to get to his defender. So as the clip rolls on, you'll see that there he could throw the ball quite early to the pick route and easily pick up 10 yards, something like that, 7, 8, maybe even the first down. But then he sees that defender coming off the edge and he thinks, I don't know if I'll get this throwaway here. So Russell Wilson trusts his ability to scramble outside the pocket, gets outside, buys himself a little bit more time, and actually against this cover one defense, crossing routes are generally the best thing to beat it, because the Seahawks have got some great wide receivers. The Eagles' secondary isn't necessarily great, and I'd expect the Seahawks to love a one-on-one matchup and beat them for pace and route running. But in fact, Russell Wilson gets outside the pocket, buys himself some time, and he actually throws to probably the harder route. If you look here, he's got one wide receiver well open right underneath, but instead he sees that the defender slipped at the top of the screen and decides to take the top off, and over the top he goes. He launches it deep right to the sideline, and he's really got the accuracy to pinpoint it just inside the sideline. So this is a great play from Russell Wilson and really, really well identified. So here we see another example of it. You've got clearly two single high safeties, but it's almost like a cover four because the two outside cornerbacks drop very, very quickly. And so then Russell Wilson's left with 4 pass rushes in his face. The San Fran defense has been awesome all of the 2019 season. So he knows that potentially against the 49ers he might have to get the ball out a little bit quicker. But he notices that there's a lot of pressure coming off his blind side. So the first thing that he does, a lot of quarterbacks would look to step up into the pocket, climb the pocket, and look for a throw maybe underneath out there to the running back, or try and force a pass into traffic into these 3 linebackers here. But instead, Russell Wilson decides, no, you know what? I've got the ability to scramble outside the pocket. He gets outside of the defensive end. It's a good block. He gets outside of the defensive end, and he backs his throwing on the run ability to put that ball out in front of the receiver. And that's the one thing about Russell Wilson. It's okay, being outside the pocket, being able to throw on the run and hit the man, but something that Russell Wilson does better than any other player in the NFL probably is actually placing that ball while they are on the run. You see Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, they've got such good run after catch ability, but we wouldn't see that if Russell Wilson did not put the ball out in front of them to keep them running. So on this clip against the 49ers, he hits the receiver fully in stride, and as we roll the clip on, it actually leads to another 10-15 yards after he's caught the ball, which didn't really look like happening. So this is just another example of Russ backing his ability and getting outside the pocket to throw. So I've just talked about Russell Wilson outside the pocket and how he's a great scrambler. He can really throw on the run really well. But not only that, he's got great vision. He's got a great footballing brain. So what we see here is at the start of the play, it's a very clear cover one look. They've got the single high safety, and the rest is in man coverage and fairly pressed. So Russell Wilson sees this. He expects there's a blitz coming off the right-hand side. So cleverly, he moves his running back across to his right-hand side to provide some extra protection. And again, cover one, you'd expect to see some sort of routes across the middle of the field. But he's actually looking towards the bottom of the screen. He backs his receiver to beat that press one-on-one coverage. And what I've just mentioned about Russell Wilson placing the ball and hitting them on the stride, this is exactly what we see again here. Admittedly, this time he's not running outside of the pocket. He's still in the pocket. He climbs it well. He climbs into the throw. And this back shoulder fade is one of the better ones you'll see. It is completely to his back shoulder, and the defender has absolutely no chance. The receiver knows exactly when that ball's coming, exactly when to turn for it, and this back shoulder fade is one of the best that you'll see thrown in the NFL. It's not just Russell Wilson's passing game that is a massive strength of his. His rushing and composure is one of his best attributes, and I'll show you a couple of examples for why. So this is from the Rams game that the Seahawks played at home. So again, it's a similar, close to the goal line, you'll see a lot of teams come out in man looks because there's not a lot of room to run your routes, so that most teams will match up man to man in the goal line. So as we roll the clip on here, Russell receives the snap, and everything looks fairly closed up. You know, all of the Rams defenders have done a good job of closing down their wide receiver. He sees the pressure coming off the edge, climbs the pocket, and then he runs towards the goal line. And because the defenders know that he's such a good scrambler and he can easily cover 15, 20 yards without even thinking about it, that cornerback from down at the bottom of the screen bites in to take Russell Wilson, leaving his wide receiver completely open. And this is great composure, not just to run for the goal line, you know, headless chicken style and try and dive in there or force a pass too early and it get intercepted or something, but just that ability to climb the pocket, build himself buy himself some time, and actually draw a defender towards it and freeing up a receiver and equaling a touchdown. That is just Russell Wilson to a T. So here we see against the 49ers, this epitomises Russell Wilson for me. This is the clip that I would show anyone of Russell Wilson for 2019, why he was so successful. So you've got the stat look at the bottom of the screen, the two wide receivers and one at the top. And as the play develops, nothing's really too open. You know, you've got that receiver downfield who's quite covered. The running back at the side of the field is covered. And you've got one of the wide receivers in between the linebackers and the secondary who's fairly open. But Russell Wilson isn't necessarily the tallest quarterback, so he doesn't know if he can fit that throw in time. And also there's a linebacker between him and the receiver. So it has to be a good throw to fit it in right between the two levels. So as it is, Russell Wilson decides, instead of tucking and running, which we'd see a lot of quarterbacks do, or they might try and force a throw, or as I mentioned, tuck and run and not pick up an awful lot considering there's two linebackers not far off the line of scrimmage. Instead, he actually takes 3-4 step drop back, buys himself some extra time, lets that receiver run a different route to get himself open, and as we see here, he runs towards the sideline. Bam, perfect completion, 15 yards. And that play was from absolutely nothing. There was nothing on for Russ there because he can't see that player in the middle of the field. He's covered. Then he runs forward and all the defenders think, oh God, he's scrambling. So that linebacker, you see him bite. You see him bite towards Russell Wilson. He steps up 3-4 steps thinking that he's coming to rush. All of a sudden, he steps back in the pocket, buys himself some more time. That linebacker, he's completely out of the play now, and it means that he's got more time for his receiver to run the route and get open. And and as we've mentioned on the accuracy side of things, he has completely got this, and he hits him perfectly on the sideline for this 15-yard completion. An absolute masterclass from Wilson. And one last point to touch on from me is that not only is passing, but he has got quite good speed as well. Russell Wilson's speed causes so many problems. When you play a lot of cover 1, cover 0 against the Seahawks, Russell Wilson will absolutely tear you to pieces. So here we see a clear cover 1 setup here from the Packers with the single high safety, and the rest is man coverage. And as the play rolls on, Russell Wilson receives the snap. Then we see a fairly good pass rush, but then he takes the wrong angle to try and rush Russell Wilson, and it frees up a gap on the left-hand side of the D-line. Russell Wilson runs through it, and because they're in cover 1, they've all got wide receivers to be looking after. They can't turn. They're not in the zone. They're not looking at Russell Wilson the whole time. They're looking at their receiver. So Russell Wilson breaks through, easy 20-yard rush, and bam, the sticks are moving, the Seahawks drive continues. This shows that sides just can't stick to cover 0, cover 1 against the Seahawks all of the time, because as good as your defensive backs might be at locking up the receivers, Russell Wilson will always find a way to scramble out and make a play. And with this throwing on the run ability, you really can't afford to leave too many receivers, even a little bit open. So thanks for watching my first film analysis. It's been a pleasure doing some analysis on Russell Wilson. Let me know who you would like to see in the next episode of Film Room, and let me know if you enjoyed this one. What did you like? What did you dislike? What are you hoping to see from the next one?